All right, so we got a lot of requests to review these videos of King Charles, who's one of the trending videos going around right now. You'll know what I'm talking about when I start playing here. So let's go ahead and play this. As the camera's coming up, there's two dogs that are fighting, or about to fight. They're having some kind of conflict. They've got their tails up, which is showing dominance. They've got their hackles up, which is showing that they're aroused. But if you look how they got the way they're showing their teeth, they got their lips pulled back and they're showing their teeth, which is one of those things where they're trying to prevent further escalation of conflict themselves. But once King Charles enters the picture, we note his tail is just up. He's just booming of confidence, right? The way he walks around, the way he moves, and then he literally stands on top of the main aggressor dog from that specific situation until that dog goes into submission. Now, as King Charles walks away from that dog, we see that other dog's tail go down, which is a sign of submission, and the dog move away. So just really cool to watch this. Obviously, King Charles is the dominant dog in this specific situation. So let's look at another video we've got of him. All right, so we'll pause this real quick. So the first video we watched of King Charles, he doesn't show any like outgoing dominance or shows any type of aggressive behavior, aggressive response. In this video, he is showing an aggressive response. So we'll kind of look at this. But apparently, the dog that he's dominating right now is Rocky, who's the prior alpha of the pack. And then whenever King Charles got introduced to this rescue or wherever he's at, then he basically jumped the hierarchy. He took over as the dominant pack leader, right? So from where we're starting at here, we've got Charles on top of Rocky, both barking, both showing their teeth. But if you look at the way that Rocky's showing his teeth, his lips are pulled back and he's licking his lips, which is signs of conflict, but it's also signs of submission. You see Charles, he's standing on top of Rocky, very stiff, very upright. Okay, oh, Rocky just got up. So we'll kind of replay that. But Rocky got up, so Charles gets on his back. We got his paw on his back as he's grabbing his back with his mouth. All signs of dominance, right? Rocky's got his head down, sign of submission. Rocky tries to move. Charles jumps on his back again, head over the shoulder. Just all signs of extreme dominance for the situation. If we get to see Rocky's tail, we notice that it's now tucked between his legs. He's showing signs of submission. So it's very clear here that Charles is showing all the signs of a strong, dominant dog. We see it in action. And then we see Rocky, signs of a submissive dog. And then Rocky tries to move away, and Charles is staying on top of him to ensure that he is submitting to him. This right here is a great example. If you're reading dog body language, this is a great example of dominance and submission. But apparently Rocky was challenging him, which is why they went to this level of their conflict, right? Now, it's also very clear to understand in this situation and the other videos of Charles that Charles is not being overly aggressive. He never causes damage to Rocky that we can see, never makes direct contact with him with his mouth that we can see. They're resolving this conflict all through their body language and through their signaling, right? So they actually never really had to fight. So super interesting to watch, super cool to watch. Okay, I see what's going on. So looks like Charles was correcting one of the big black dogs, and then Rocky tried to correct the dog, and then Charles went in to resolve the whole situation. And by correction, I mean he did actually put his mouth on him from the looks of it. Turn this audio off. From the looks of it. But it seems like Rocky, through all the clips that we've watched, it seems like he's the one that's constantly testing the leadership hierarchy. He's constantly seeing if he can exert some level of dominance over different situations or control. And then Charles steps up and always is putting him in his place. We see the other dogs stepping in, seeming to kind of support Charles, obviously. And then we see Rocky at different times. He's showing lots of submissive signals. His tail's down. His lips he's showing his teeth. Conflict, submission, right? He's licking his lips, submission, as that's going on. But very obvious in every situation that Charles has control, right? We've got this one situation where the two big black dogs are kind of teaming up on Rocky, and Charles steps up, and he's basically showing his dominance to both the big black dogs and Rocky to break up that fight. But even Rocky, you know, he's barking, lips pulled back, he's barking, he's in conflict, ears pulled back, he's showing all the clear signs of submission in all of those situations. All right, so now we're off to a different clip. Let's check out what we got going on here.
Come.
We got two dogs in the water swimming.
Come.
Owner's saying to come. They are actually coming to the owner, which is a good thing. But in the distance, we see a little alligator.
Oh my God! Come.
Swimming toward the dog. So this is one of those situations you got to be really careful, especially if you're around lakes, around rivers, around ponds.
Good.
You got to be really careful about what's going on around your dog. You got to pay attention. You got to think about alligators. You got to think about venomous snakes.
Let's go.
Honestly, if you're at the beach or whatever, you got to think about sharks too. But this is why it's extremely important to have a good come command. The number one command your dog should have, a good come command, good recall. So what happens if you're in this situation? Alligator swimming right toward him. What happens if you're in this situation and your dog doesn't come, like this dog came? Well, we have a problem because now our dog's in danger, right? So in that situation, if this lady's calling her dogs to come and they're not coming, right, because there's something distracting them, whether it's a fish that jumped out the water, whether it's a bird, whether it's something else in the water, they're not coming. Well, now it's our time to enforce that come command, which is why we recommend remote collar conditioning. And we got a bunch of videos on our channel on how to do that, remote collar conditioning, so we can ensure our dog's safety while still allowing them off-leash freedom, but we have to train that properly. But this is just a great example of, we've got a real dangerous situation. We've got an alligator. The dogs did come, thankfully, but what if they didn't? What if there was something distracting them? They didn't hear us. We've got to make sure we can back ourselves up and ensure our dog's safety. All right, so this dude's hanging out in the hammock, and he's got his, looks like a cane corso, just laying on the ground next to him, just chilling, minding his own business. Lady comes, or I don't know if it's a lady, but someone comes up. She's got two, or he or she, whoever, got two yellow labs. One lab approaches, it's got its tail up, showing dominance. It comes right up to the dog laying down, minding its own business, which is disrespectful, honestly. Why would you let your dogs do that to somebody else's dog? If you're in this situation, don't let your dogs wander off like that over to somebody else's dog. Call them back to you. If you can't call them back, you're not ready to be off-leash. You got to have good off-leash control. So the dog walks up, you know, showing dominance, head up, tail up, ears forward, comes right up to the dog laying down, starts sniffing it, right, in a dominant manner. And the cane corso gets up and basically is you know, telling this dog, hey, back off, give me space. Didn't overdo it, didn't cause damage to the dog, just jumps up, barks, you know, telling that other dog, hey, don't mess with me, right? Great way, you know, great behavior from the cane corso. Then the second dog comes up, starts sniffing around the dog, you know, and same thing essentially happens, right? So again, if you're in this situation, if you're the person with the two off-leash dogs wandering up to somebody else's dog, don't do that. Be respectful. Call your dogs back to you. If you see something or somebody else trying to enjoy the area around you, it looks like this is a park or something. If you're the person in the hammock, you know, you did the right thing, but maybe there's something else you could do depending on your dog. Maybe you have to get up out of the hammock, go stop that yellow lab dog from getting to your dog so your dog doesn't have to do a correction like this, even though it's a good, proper correction. Or you could yell out to that person who's letting their dogs wander up to your dog, hey, get your dogs. Hey, control your dog, right? So you could do that to prevent the whole thing from happening. All right, now it looks like we've got some dogs hanging out on a porch. What in the world? Holy cow. Okay, I see what's going on. We got someone walking across the street here with the dog. The lady looks like she's doing pulling weeds or doing some gardening in her front yard. She's got the three dogs sitting on the porch with her, and one of them wants to run out across the yard toward the people that are walking, and the lady stops him by basically throwing herself in front of him and telling him to go back and lay down on the porch. So she had relatively good control. Ideally, what I'd like to see, and if you're in this situation, is that you not have to like throw yourself in front of your dog. So she's there pulling the weeds. Her dog wants to go. She throws herself in front of her dog. So ideally, I would say your training should be at a point where you don't have to do that. You just say no. If they're not listening to you, you could use your remote collar communication to stop them without having to throw yourself around, right? So we want that good control. But I think she did a good job with what she's got going on here. But very interesting, very important to note that someone walking across the street, minding their own business, dog on a leash, minding their own business, dog didn't react, your dog reacts. You want to make sure that's a situation that you've trained for, which means you want to have good socialization. You also want to have good structure, good communication, right? So very good situation here. The other dogs didn't even get, well, one got up to kind of maybe join in, but the German Shepherd just kept sitting there. So anyway, very interesting situation to watch. I like watching all these situations unravel. Let me know what you guys think about this breakdown. And also, if you want to work on socialization with your dog, we did a video on that, so check it out right here so that you can start working on that yourself with your dog to not have this situation happen to you. See you next time.